Culture is created by two things: what you celebrate and what you tolerate. So if the culture of your house looks a certain way, understand it's probably pointing to the things that you celebrate and the things that you tolerate. Oh, it got real quiet. Well, good morning. How are we doing this morning? Good. I love it. I love the cold weather blowing in. Makes me want to go get in a deer stand, but I have to be here. So there's that. I wanted you guys, Stu, who's in the video there, he comes first service. If you guys will keep him in your prayer, he is officially this week, last week started his official full transition into his mission field that he's working on. So just be in prayer for him and his family that the Lord provides and continues to lead them in that season as they are beginning this brand new ministry that the Lord has called them to in missions. So add them to your just daily prayer list that the Lord would lead them. They've been super impactful to our church since they've been apart for the last several years. So that's a side note. All right, today we are going to dive in. We've spent the last 2 weeks really learning about shepherds. What is a shepherd? How do they function practically? How did Jesus fulfill the ultimate part of being a shepherd, which is what we talked about last week? And today we're going to really dive in just a little bit more practical. Like, we're going to take it more about where we are in our own hearts. How do we do this in our own families? How should it look within the context of those that we should lead? So we're going to spend a little bit more time just about how do we become the shepherds God's called us to be, because all of us are leading somebody, and how are we leading them? So we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about that, and then I'm going to end today really with upholding Psalms 23. It's something I've been sharing over the last couple of weeks that it's coming. Well, today we're going to unpack that as we end, and that really is just the fullness of what Christ is wanting to do as the shepherd. So that's where we're going today, so stick with me. It's going to have some moments that may be a little bit challenging, and I promise I'm not intentionally stepping on your toes, but if the Holy Spirit's stirring you, listen, because all of us should be becoming more like him, and that only happens as we are shaped and molded to be more like him. So today we are going to talk about shepherding in our home and leading our families well, leading them like Jesus. You know, the metaphor of shepherd was not limited to just pastors or leaders. It was for all of us. It's a practical way that we should parent, we should guide our spouses, we should lead those in our workplace. It is an application that we have to pick up. Understand this, spiritual leadership begins at home. If you are not doing it at home, do not expect it to show up in everyday life in your family. Do not come on Sunday and have God one day and then wonder why my home does not reflect Jesus if Jesus is not reflected in your home by you daily. It requires you to do it in your home. That's where it has to come. So shepherding begins at your house. Daily routines, conversations, decisions, attitudes in your life that reflect Christ. Do we ever talk about Christ? Is he held up? Is there conversations about him in my home? Because it starts there. If you don't do it there, I promise you, you are forming habits, but you are not forming godly habits. Because every one of us, it's not are we being formed, we are being formed. It's what's forming us. Who's forming us? That's the question. So I want you to understand it starts at home. Deuteronomy 6:7 says this. Some of y'all are laughing already. You're getting ahead of me. It says this, it says, these commandments that I give to you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, when you get up. This is what it says in Deuteronomy. What is he saying? That the word of the Lord, the teachings of the Lord, what he wants from us is not just to be done on Sunday. It's supposed to be done every day, everywhere you go. When you're walking down the road, when you're having dinner, when you're out with your friends, you should have the Lord so on the forefront of your life that everywhere you go is a moment to be spiritually formed and grow closer to Christ. Because I can promise you this, If I spend 6 days of the week living like the world and only 1 day of the week living like Christ, I will look like the world, not like Christ. And he's telling us, if you want your family to reflect one that is spiritual in nature, if you want your family to be one that Jesus is what is the image that people see, it's gonna be because you've spent the time to make sure Jesus is in the forefront of every moment in your home. Not just in your home, but in your life as you live life with him. That's what Deuteronomy 6:7 is telling us. Now listen, this is the point where I was talking to my daughter and she started laughing and I had to pause for a moment because I was like, seriously? Like 6:7 has taken over the world. Like it's everywhere. You can't even talk about it. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna have a little fun with this. And I started to work on it because it popped up here. So bear with me. I'm gonna help some of you guys out. Some of you have no idea what 6:7 is. Those that laugh absolutely hear it all the time and you know exactly what 6:7 is. 6:7 is absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, if you chat GPT it says it's a nonsensical term to represent nothing in the current culture. But go to a football game and watch number 67 tackle someone and the stands light up. 6'7", you hear it everywhere, right? It's taken over. So here's the thing. One of the things as Christians we're called to do is to redeem things for Christ, which means we're taking things of the world and we're making them about Christ. So I'm gonna give you guys some really good content here that you can use everywhere you go. Matter of fact, I had a shirt made for it that says, Jesus is the original 6'7", the good shepherd who saved me. Now, let me double down on this so you get it. One, we just talked about Deuteronomy 6:7, which is where this started. That's keeping the Lord at the forefront of your home. Get this. This is Matthew chapter 2, verse 6-7. Follow me here? Okay. It's you, Bethlehem, in Judah's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will shepherd, rule my people, my Israel. Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the east. Pretending to be as devout as they were, he got them to tell him exactly when the birth announcement star appeared. Listen, Jesus is the original 6'7". So here's the thing. Since it means nothing, I'm gonna reclaim it and I'm gonna make it mean something. So this is a great witnessing tool for all of you. When you hear someone be like, 6'7", you're like, oh, you're talking about Jesus. Let me tell you what Deuteronomy 6:6-7 says, and then let me tell you what Matthew 2:6-7 says. And I want you to know that Jesus was the one who saved you. And so 6:7 actually was about saving your life. You see, we can take something that the world meant and we can redeem it for Christ. So if you want a shirt, merch, you'll have to custom order one. They have them at merch. I'm gonna be wearing it all over. We will get the spelling right. I was pointed out that they spelled one wrong. We made this very short notice because, God brought this up. But it's important that the reason I thought this was interesting, it ties into the shepherd, everything we've been talking about. If you go look, there is a lot of powerful meanings in verses 6 and 7 all the way through the Bible. So I want us to declare, instead of it just being some random TikTok, some rap song or whatever, we can now restore its purpose and have a lot of fun with it and point to Jesus at every moment. Because Jesus is the shepherd to rule his people. And that's what we're gonna focus on. I thought I didn't do this first service, I'll do it in a second. I thought I'd have a little more fun. If you ever wanna have really fun and connection with your family, especially if you have young adults or teenagers, it's really important to learn that phrases change. Like when I was growing up, there was things that we said that drove my parents crazy. They're like, that means nothing. Why are you saying that? It's so silly. And that really has been the case all the way through culture. It's like every generation has to make a new language so they feel special, right? And then the older generation thinks it's silly and we lose this. But understand, words have meaning and context. And if we don't understand how to use them, we're gonna miss the opportunities to reach them. So I'm gonna have one more little fun. I'm gonna read that same verse, Matthew 2:6-7, but I'm gonna read it as they would read it. Y'all ready for this? Yo, Bethlehem, out in Judah, don't sleep on yourself. You might look small time, but the goat's coming out of you. The one who's gonna lead and vibe check all of Israel. Then King Herod hit up the wise guys on the low, slid into a private convo to find out when the star first popped off. See, all the kids are like, oh, I get that. It took us a little bit. By the way, there is a video coming out shortly of me and John trying to do these phrases and understand what they mean. So there is a Facebook video that y'all are going to laugh at coming soon. But I do want you to know, I know I made some fun of this, but it really is. It's about how do we connect? How do we truly connect to our family? By the way, some may be old, some may be young. So while this is fun, it also is to the heart of, are you shepherding the people that are under you well? And it's not by attacking, it's about redefining and bringing it back to Christ, right? It's about us getting real enough to have a conversation that engages the hearts of those that we shepherd. So I'm gonna walk us through some practical things about us shepherding our family like Jesus. First, know your family's spiritual condition. Listen, that's a hard question right off the bat, because most of us never take the time to actually think about the spiritual health of our family. We think about their health and we think about their GPAs and their college scores and all of this, but rarely do we think about the spiritual health. Have we even asked the question, is my family spiritually healthy? So we got to start there. As if we're going to shepherd our families well, we got to start there. Genuinely get involved in your family members' spiritual welfare. Listen, ask questions about their faith, their fears, their hopes, the things they're wrestling with. But let me caution you, you need to lead with patience, compassion, and creating a safe space for honesty. Now listen, I'm not talking about the coloring book crayon safe space where we don't talk about hard things. That's not what I'm talking about. But I am talking about a safe space where that their wrestle can be heard and then not condemned, but brought out of. Because I promise you, if you don't create a space where those that you're shepherding feel safe to say, hey, I'm just really wrestling with this, you will never have their hearts and you will not lead them well. Because the heart of a shepherd is to lead his sheep well, right? But they hear my voice and they follow. It's because you've earned the space. It takes a lot of work. By the way, this is not just kids. This is wives, husbands, coworkers. You have to be from a space where they can be honest and not attacked, but they can be challenged to move closer to Christ. So we're not talking about completely making everything just easy. We're talking about open, honest transparency where it's okay to say I'm wrestling. Great, let me come alongside of you and help you lead out of that. Observe their attitudes and behaviors. Are there spiritual things happening in their life? Because I can promise you, if you don't do this, you're gonna miss out. I want this phrase to kind of be in your mind as we walk through this, because here's a truth we've learned in leadership as we've been walking through this last year, and the Lord has been calling us to health and how we do it on the back end. Culture is created by two things: what you celebrate and what you tolerate. So if the culture of your house looks a certain way, understand it's probably pointing to the things that you celebrate and the things that you tolerate. Oh, it got real quiet. Listen, this is truth because God wants us to have healthy families. He wants us to have healthy relationships. He wants us to be good shepherds, but it comes to fruit when we get real at where we are. Second thing you got to do if you're going to lead well, you got to lead through your words. Words carry meaning. Language shapes all culture. And I promise you, if you can't get real about this, you're going to miss it. We got to understand definitions, they matter. Talking matters. Because I can say one thing, and if you have a different definition of this word than I do, we're not speaking the same language and we're going nowhere. The culture has been masterful at this. They have redefined words all over the place. And he who defines the word wins the argument. Listen, your words matter. You have to speak truth with love, encouragement, and affirmation in your family. We're not talking about truth with condemnation, legalism, all of the things that destroy, because that's not what Christ did. He actually brought us up, and he brought love into every situation. Regularly remind your family of God's promises of his love. Are we doing that? Are you reminding your kids, your spouse? Do they ever hear that God actually loves them? Do they hear it coming out of your mouth? Because understand what you're speaking and what you're doing, if they don't line up, what you do speaks way louder than your words. So you can say all day long, here's this, but if you don't do it, we're going to get there. Scripture, is it ever a part of your home? Is it ever brought up? Is it ever talked about? Do we ever use our words to share meaningful devotions? And I'm not talking about, hey, we need to take our family and lock them in a room and have a 2-hour, let's just force this in. No. Again, it's all through the heartbeat of relationship. How do I get Jesus to be something that I want to engage in, not something I have to do? This is what we're trying to do. So it could be a 5-minute Bible time with your kid before they go to bed. It could be a conversation as you're at the park. Hey, one of my favorites this time of year is in the deer stand. It's the best place to talk about God because there's no distractions unless a deer comes out and then there's a distraction. But I love spending time in the woods in a deer stand because it removes things and it lets me just talk with God. Are we leading with our words in a way that reflects Christ or a way that reflects the world? Third thing, model spiritual discipline and practice. Children learn what we as adults live. This is what I started to get to. Your actions will always speak louder than your words. If you come to church on Sunday and you talk about God, but then you go home and you live like the world, do not be surprised when your kids become like the world, because all they're doing is following you. Hey, I told you, I warned you, you're going to have, because I want healthy families, so we're going to get real. We can't say one thing and then do another, because if we're leading, the very act of leading means I am going and those that are behind me are following. So if I'm going to the left and I'm telling them to go to the right, they're going to follow me to the left. There's no way around this, you guys. You have to get real about this in your life. Be intentional with this. Are you exhibiting a prayerful lifestyle? Because let me tell you this, if you say prayer matters, but your family and the people that you're leading never see you pray, does prayer really matter? You see, we can say prayer matters, but if we never model it, if we don't embody it as leaders, then does it really matter? Are we leading with prayer? Are we reading and discussing biblical topics with our families daily? Are we engaged in worship? Listen, there's nothing wrong with country music or whatever your favorite music style is. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you have to be like, all we're going to do every moment of every day is focus on God. We want to get to that. But here's the thing, I'm going to promise you this. If you put more time into things of the world than things of God, you will get that result. So if the majority of my day is consumed with things that don't reflect Christ, then most likely I'm not going to reflect Christ. Can we listen to country music? Absolutely, you can. Not saying that you can't go have a pool party and have some fun, but if the predominant thing you do is always of the world, not of Christ, do not be surprised when that is what you begin to reflect. I'm just being real with you guys. Are we engaging with worship with our families and those that we're leading? Are we having authentic conversations about it, but from a place of joy and wanting and longing, not duty? Because then it becomes legalism and it's not a relationship which a shepherd leads because he knows his flock. It's relational in nature. Are we doing this at home? Number 4, do we protect and disciple? Listen, it is an obligation of a shepherd to protect. It's that's the reason he has the rod, It's to fight off the things that are trying to hurt the sheep. So as people, are you protecting your flock? How does this practically look? I mean, first, it starts with being intentional with what media and entertainment that you're allowing, and peer engagement. I know this sounds rough. Listen, just because there's some good things on TikTok doesn't mean it's all good. Are we taking the time to see what they're consuming? By the way, this is not just for them. It's also for you. This is something I've had to shift in my life. You know, movies and things that we see as acceptable, if it's acceptable to us, we're saying, but we're telling our kid it's not acceptable to you, then is it really acceptable? And this is a challenge that we all have to wrestle with. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you how to parent in your household, but I am saying that if the Lord begins to convict you, you need to listen. So don't be surprised if your kids begin to reflect what you've allowed yourself. I'm walking this journey myself. I'm not trying to act like I am above anybody in this. But are we intentional? Do we ever take the time to look at what our kids are consuming the majority of? It's convicting when you begin to think about this. But if I am called to protect my flock and I don't even know what my flock is eating, am I doing a very good job of protecting my flock? No, you're not. And most of us, we all wrestle with screen time. It's not a uncommon thing. It's a huge issue. What are we consuming? Are we protecting against it? Are we addressing spiritual apathy? Some of you are going, apathy, I don't even know what that means. Listen, I'm going to kind of complacency. I'm going to say something that this may challenge you, but it's one of the things the Lord's been showing me as we begin to get real about this topic in our own hearts. The way this works, apathy, are we addressing apathy? I would say that most of us were sitting here in church this morning because we believe Jesus is the most important thing in our life. Or all of us would say that if I was going to take 6, 7, 8 things, no laugh. God, I was going to get at least one laugh. Some of y'all, that tells me y'all aren't listening. Y'all have completely checked out. But if we were to create this list of things, let's just say our top 10, that we really think are key, pivotal things about our family and what we believe are the most important things for us. And if we put Jesus and God first, and then we have this whole list of family time, school, whatever, build your list out. And then we say, but Jesus is number one. But is he really? This is where apathy comes in, because here's where God, he gave me this I think for all of us to really understand this. If God's in number one seat, but every time, let's just say football's number 8. Every time God comes into competition with football wins, is God really number one? If God's number one and every time he is up against a competing number in our top 10 and he always gets benched for whatever the other thing is are we just kidding ourselves and saying he's number one? Or are we playing games? Not saying it can't flip-flop here and there, but if every single time when we are having to make a hard decision, am I going to be involved in things of God or am I going to be involved in things of the world? The things of the world win. Do not be surprised when Jesus is no longer actually the number one seat in your home, because it's a reality. And if you think what I'm saying is not true, look around our culture. I will tell you, in large part, culturally, when it comes time to spend time with the Lord or anything else, spending time with the Lord is almost always the first thing benched. Almost always. So when we're talking about dealing with spiritual apathy, does God matter enough that when he's actually compared to something else on our list, he actually stays in number one? If we're going to build our family around those that have the true convictions to follow the Good Shepherd, we have to get real about this. Part of this, are we walking with our children? And then teenagers, And as they get older, now let me get you to understand this. There's a season as parents where we get to kind of shape them as kids, and then there's a season where they become teenagers. I'm learning this right now. I have a 13-year-old, and it is a challenge because you have to let them go enough to make their decision while still trying to protect them. And the only way you do that is to care enough about them to walk beside them in the decisions they make, to guide them back. This is protection. Protection is, I love you enough to let you start making a decision, but I am going to walk right beside you. Even though I know it's a bad decision, I'm going to let you make it, but I am here to protect you while you're making it. Are we protecting like that? Are we walking like that with our family? It's really important. Number 5, prioritizing quality time and heart connection. Shepherding is it's not about rules, it's about relationship. And relationship is only birthed out of quality time. Now, this means spending meaningful time together. Now, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and give you a heads up. Just being present in the room with them, watching TV and saying everybody's in the room, it's quality time. For us, sure. Guys, great quality time. We love that. We're in the room. Everybody's here. We're watching TV. This is quality time. But let me tell you this. One of the things a good shepherd understands is every sheep is unique. What my daughter needs in quality time is not the same thing my son needs in quality time, is not the same thing my wife needs in quality time. And so if I'm going to be real about quality time with those that I'm leading, I've got to know my sheep, and the quality time has to be what they need, not what I need. That's hard because most of us are looking inward about what I need. And if that's where you set, you're going to have a hard time leading. So you've got to understand, you've got to be present in the moment and truly hear what their heart is if you want to be a good shepherd in your home. And the last one I want to cover, by the way, we will send out a thing midweek I've been working on. I've built that will come out midweek that's going to be kind of a personal challenge. There's going to be 2, one on the first thing that I'm covering and one on the Psalms. And it's going to be something for you to take and chew on even more. And it asks some personal questions and leads you through some kind of self-reflection of these that we'll send out midweek, so you want to be looking for that. But the last one I want to cover right here that's really, really important, and this is key, you guys. If you're going to be a good shepherd, you've got to be willing to pursue the lost at all causes. Because here's the thing. Jesus will always leave the 99 to rescue the one. Every single time, and he will never stop. When the Father's Son walked away, he didn't give up. He pursued while knowing a wound was coming. Every morning he walked out looking for his son that was in a pig pen, knowing he was probably going to receive another wound of rejection every morning. My son still didn't choose me. My son still didn't come home. But he was willing to endure the pain because the sheep was worth it. So in your family, yeah, you may have some family that are tough, challenging, make you want to pull your hair out. If you're going to be a good shepherd, you're going to love them like Jesus did, to relentlessly pursue them even though you know a wound may be coming. This is a good shepherd in your home. Pray for the lost sheep daily. Fight for them. Take initiative. Pursue them. Don't just stand on the sidelines and say, well, I tried once, they rejected me, I'll just wait for them to come home. No. Love them enough to take a wound every day if that's what it takes to bring them back. That's how a good shepherd leads their home. So that's some practical application. Now I'm going to shift real quickly, and we are going to camp on Psalms 23. And the reason I've chosen to end here is because I want you guys to understand we can only do all of the things I just said if we follow Jesus. None of us in this room have the power to actually live that out in our own strength. It's impossible. We're not capable of it alone. It only happens as we follow Jesus and allow him to actually shepherd our home because he's shepherding us. And so I wanted to end on this because there is such a bold promise in Psalms 23 that Jesus himself completely embodied when he was here and gave us a place to walk in. Oh, this is what it looks like to be shepherded as well as to shepherd. It's a two-sided promise. I'm going to give all of this to you, and I'm going to ask you to do your best to become this to the ones you lead. You got to understand, this is written by David, and it's very important to understand that David was a shepherd. We talked about that, right? He was taking care of sheep before he became king. He understands the role of a shepherd better than probably any of us will ever imagine. So when he's writing about a shepherd, we need to understand that he had the full understanding of the weight of every single thing he was saying. Came with an immense amount of intentionality. And one of the things I want to point, we're going to walk line by line through this, and I'm going to give you guys a lot of context. But he starts, and he sets the tone right off the bat. It starts this way. It says, the Lord is a shepherd. Did anybody catch that? That's not right? No, he didn't start with the Lord is a shepherd. He started with the Lord is my shepherd. It indicates one-on-one relationship right off the bat. So I'm going to walk you through each line of this verse, and I want you to understand what he's saying in every one because it's so important, because it's going to speak to your heart, because right now as we go through this, the Lord wants to do something in you and lead you so that you can lead better. And every one of us has a need, a desperate need for the Lord to meet us in something that we're about to walk through. So the first thing, the Lord is my shepherd. What is that? It's providence. Now some of the teenagers are going, I don't even know what providence is. That's great. I'm fixing to tell you because it's important. Providence is God's active care and provision in every part of my life. He sees what we need and provides before we even ask. Because we've talked about the role of the shepherd. The role of the shepherd is to do all of the things we've talked. He's preparing the next field. He is proactive about your life. That's the first declaration that is made about the Lord as your shepherd. The second thing he says is, I shall not want. What is this? It's contentment. Now, this is the definition of contentment. A peaceful trust that because God provides, we lack nothing truly essential. Now, listen, truly essential and wants are different. I really want a 1,000-acre deer ranch where I can go hunt by myself, but that's a want. That's not essential. That's not what God is promising here, but what he's promising is everything that you actually need, he will give it to you. And so I can be content. This is something I have to actively choose, but I can be content because I know that he's going to provide what I need. Are we content? Then he goes next, he says, he makes me lie down in green pastures. This is rest. This is one that a lot of us, I would probably argue most of us, don't do well and really actually have a resistance to. Understand, rest is not only a good idea, it's a commandment. It's one of the 10 commandments. And there's a reason for it. This is what rest means. A place of calm and renewal where God leads us to pause, refresh, and recover our strength. God leads you to a place of rest so that he can give you what you need so that you have the ability to do what it is he's called you to do. But if we don't rest, we're missing it. But he's telling you, I'm going to give you rest if you will just trust that I can do in 6 days what you can't do in 7. Listen, I expected more laugh out of the youth. But think about that statement for a minute. Rest requires us to trust that the Lord can truly do in 6 days what we are not able to do in 7 by ourselves. Most of us are running on the hamster wheel, working and working and working, and we're trying to get there, and we're doing it in 7 days, and we're all falling short. It's because we're not trusting God to do what he's going to do, and we're not going to take the time to rest in him. Next, he says, he leads me beside still waters. What is this? It's peace. Listen, a lot of us could probably use some peace in our life right now. If you look around the world right now, it feels like there is something falling apart at every moment. And if you live in the world, you will live in a place of unrest, not a place of peace. But what the Lord wants to give you is peace, a deep stillness within the soul that comes from walking closely with the shepherd, even when life around us is unsettled. Because the shepherd is beside me. I can have peace. Then he goes, he restores my soul. What is this? It's healing. So when we look at healing, it's God's restoration of what is broken in our hearts, minds, or spirits, a renewing of our inner life. What he's promising here is that if you will follow my lead, I will give you healing, and it will be at a deep internal place. It will be a place that only I can take care of. That's his promise. Then he says, he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Guys, this is guidance. This is guidance in your life. It's the Lord's direction that keeps us walking in what is right and true, showing us where to go and how to live. Are we trusting his guidance in our life, or are we still in the driver's seat? Because I can promise you, if you're in the driver's seat, you will not experience what the Good Shepherd wants to give you. He has to be in the driver's seat if you want the fullness of what it is the Good Shepherd has prepared for you. But he promises guidance. Then it goes on and says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, listen, this is protection, God's defense and covering when we face dark or dangerous places. He keeps us safe in his care. God is promising us that even though you may have wolves around you, he's going to protect you. But you've got to let him. If I'm constantly running away from the shepherd, I can't be mad at him when he doesn't protect me if I'm never allowing him to. But he's promising you protection. That's what he's promising you. Then he goes to the next one. He says, I will fear no evil. What is this? This is confidence. Why is it confidence? Because I got the Lord God protecting me, and there's no one better at protecting me. So I can be confident that I am cared for. This is what confidence is. Courage rooted in knowing that God's presence removes fear and we can trust him fully. Because in the presence of fear, faith in God will always win. We only give fear the space that we choose to give it. Understand, it has no power when it's compared to the confidence of knowing I don't have to fear any evil because my God is for me. Man, how powerful this is when you begin to break it down. Then he says, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Listen, we've talked a lot about the rod and staff, and we understand a lot of it now, right? The protection that it offers and the care. This is what it says. This is presence of the Lord, you guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing on this planet that changes things faster than the presence of God. One moment in the presence of God can change what 1,000 sermons never will. And he's promising us here presence. It's the constant nearness of God that brings comfort, assurance, and companionship in every circumstance. I call my sheep and they follow because they know my voice. They know my voice because I am going to lead them and be with them and be near them, and my presence will be with them if you decide to rest in it. This next one's my favorite one in this whole thing. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. What's this? It's victory, y'all. It's victory. He's promising us victory. By the way, he's promising us victory in a way that doesn't say, I'm going to go hide in a closet and then give you victory. It says, no, while the world is after you, I'm going to set a table in front of you and you're going to eat at my table while the enemies are after you because I am in control. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm probably struggling to eat my cheeseburger at a table when I got people trying to kill me. But what God is saying is, no, I'm not going to take you to a safe space. I'm going to protect you in your space. And you can eat your cheeseburger in peace because I am putting this table before you. So this is what victory. It's God's provision and honor, even in the face of opposition. He will show his favor publicly. He is not afraid to take on a fight. He's promised you victory. Next one, you anoint my head with oil. This is consecration. Again, another word I know some of you are like, what? So I'm going to just, listen, this is important though. This is big. What this means is it's being set apart by God for his purpose, anointed with his spirit, and chosen for his work. I need you to understand, every single one of you, this is not just for me as a pastor or someone in leadership. Every person in this place has been anointed by God to do something that only you can do. He built you with a purpose for a reason, and he said, I am going to consecrate you to do what it is I asked you and built you to do. That's what he's saying here. It's for everybody. Then he goes on and says, my cup overflows. This is abundance. The overflowing goodness and blessing of God that exceeds what we can contain or deserve. Listen, this doesn't mean he's going to give you a Ferrari. That's not what this is saying. Because if we actually understand what this is saying, he's going to give us more than what we deserve, and what all of us deserve is death. So every single moment that he intersects your life and gives you even a moment of peace, that moment of peace is more than we deserved. If he gives us a roof over our head tomorrow, that's more than we deserved. So what he's saying here is your cup's going to overflow because I am going to make it happen. But it's not going to be to your standard, it's going to be mine. If you trust me, the Good Shepherd. We're about to wrap up. We got two more statements, and they're the most powerful statements of this entire psalm. The next one is, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Listen, guys, this is grace. Thank God for grace. And by the way, all the days of my life. Grace is the steadfastness, undeserved kindness, and mercy of God to pursue us every single day we live our lives. That's the promise the Good Shepherd has given us, is that he is going to give us a grace, and it's not just yesterday, it's not just today, it's the entirety of our life, that he is going to be the shepherd that gives you grace. But the cool thing is he doesn't stop there. He finalizes it with this, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. What's that? That's eternity. That's eternity. It's living forever in God's presence, our final secure home with him that never ends. So not only are you getting grace yesterday, today, and tomorrow, you are getting grace in its fullness forever. And the end home for all of us, if we follow the Good Shepherd, is an eternity in the presence of the Good Shepherd. And so when you begin to look through this psalm, it's not just poetic beauty. It's a promise from the Lord about how he's going to care for you. I want you to get that. This is a declaration about God's character and how he's going to care for you. And Jesus became the complete fulfillment of every single one of those things while he was on the planet and chose us in it. But I need you to understand this. He can only do it if we follow. All of this is an invitation to relationship with him. And if you don't follow him, do not be upset when your life does not reflect the things he wants to do in it. because you're choosing not to, because his promise remains faithful forever. We have an obligation, so the team can come forward. We're about to go into the moment of closing, but I want to conclude with this. I need you to understand, we are only going to be able to live out our calling as shepherds to those in our life if we follow Jesus. And I mean, we've got to follow the Good Shepherd. We have to trust his leadership. We have to listen for his voice. We have to allow him to do all of the things he wants to do. We have an action role here. And we have to become shepherds to others. It doesn't matter where you are, church, place, workplace, home life. You have a calling in your life to lead someone, but you are called to lead them as Christ led us. You see, Jesus declared, I am the good shepherd, and then he commissioned us. He commissioned us in John 20, verse 21. He says, as the Father has sent me, I am sending you. It's a connection. All of this is connected. So as we go into this song, I want you guys, every one of you, to be, this is between you and the Holy Spirit. The altar will be open if you want to be up here. That's great. You can do it in your chair. I want you to understand, every one of us in this room has a desperate need to be led by the shepherd. A desperate need for it. Our hearts, our souls cry out for all of the things that God promises if we would just surrender and submit to it. By the way, we need different things in life. Some days I may need God to give me rest more so than I need him to give me confidence. Some days I may need him to give me victory more than I need him to give me contentment. Every one of these things are promises to him, and he's promising them all, but he wants to do what you need in your life so that you can not just have it for you, so that you can actually then begin to give it to others. Do not be ashamed of where you sit. If you're sitting in this room going, I just need rest, I haven't had rest in years, and I am on the edge of crumble, great. Go to the Lord and ask him for rest. If you're sitting here and going, I don't even know what tomorrow holds, I can't figure it out, great, go to him for guidance. He promised he's going to give it to you. If you're like, man, I am just in the middle of it, go to him and submit. Will you set my table in the presence of the enemy so I can have victory over the very thing that's trying to destroy me? And he's going to say, yes, I've been waiting. So as we go into this song, this is a time between you and the Spirit. What are you needing from your shepherd this morning? What is it that your soul is in desperate need of from God? Because I promise you right now, he wants to do it. It's just going to require you to trust him and then lay it in front of him so that you can pick it back up and carry it to your family. You want to change the world? You want to change our culture? It happens one meal at a time around a family table as a family changes. That's how we change the world. Not in giant crusades. Those are great, but you want to create authentic, real change. It happens one meal at a time. It happens one surrender, one moment of surrender to the Lord at a time. So I'm going to ask you to stand, and whatever the Lord has to speak to you or what you need to speak to the Lord, this time is between you and God.